Okay, this is how you want to start. You want to hide your pen tool layer and go here with these little dashes and go to new layer and label this paintbrush tool. Today we're going to learn the paintbrush tool. Again, making sure your background is locked so that you're not moving that. Right now I have fill black. I'm going to fill it with nothing, but stroke it. Let's do red stroke today. So now I'm going to go over here and click on the paintbrush tool, which is the letter B. I'm just going to click on it. And maybe you'll like this better because this is what you're used to using in other programs. I'm not a huge fan, maybe just because it's not how I learned. I don't know that there's any real right or wrong, just what you're comfortable using. I had a lot of students use this last year. I'm just literally just clicking and dragging and then clicking and dragging. So let's see what happens. I'm going to draw all these lines. And actually, I can show you later why I'm not a huge fan of this tool. But right now, we're just going to go for it. And I'm just going to paint inside. Just kind of scribble in there. So what we're creating right now is what's called vector art. And what that means, I'm going to just show you real quick. If I zoom in really close, I can zoom in as much as I want. Notice this line is always nice and sharp and clean, but notice my photograph is pixelized. So the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator, Photoshop is working with photographs, and you're always going to have this pixelization. Some are higher resolution, so you might not get as much of blurriness. But in Illustrator, if you create something in vector, I could blow this up to cover a building or a bus wrap, and it will never be pixelized. It will always have that clean edge. Whereas a photograph, you have to shoot it at a super high resolution to get nice clean edges if you want to blow it up, which will slow your computer down because it's a very large file. So vector is beautiful because it's a lower resolution file that can translate, which is why logos are always in, logos are always vector because you can just basically translates to everything. Okay, so I know this looks weird because it's all in red, but let me just finish my drawing. Okay, so like the pen tool, I can highlight this minus, well, this is the problem. This is why I don't like paintbrush. Let me hide my background, and there's my drawing. If I Command Y, which shows you all my lines and all of my points, it's just weird. You've got all these lines, all these points, none of them really connect, versus let me hide this and show you my pen tool layer. Look how clean that is. So if I try to manipulate this, it's going to be a lot easier for me to manipulate this because there's a lot less points than trying to manipulate this, because if I want to move something or change something, there's more points. It's just more confusing. But it's not to say you can't use this. There's a way to modify and manipulate. But today I do want you to learn how to use the paintbrush tool. Oh, like I was saying, like the paintbrush tool, I can highlight this and again add different, I don't know, weights, angles. I don't know. These are different brush effects. You can play, you can play with that. That's kind of fun if I want it to look like crayon or whatever. Anyway, Command S or File Save. Always save your work. Unlike working in Google Docs where Google automatically saves as you're working, this does not. So if power goes out or your computer shuts down for some random reason, you've lost all your work if you don't constantly save. So Command S, which is, let me just move something so you can see. Let's say I want to save that. Save, which is also Command S. I just get in the habit of Command S all the time as I'm working, and it just helps me back up my work.